of this rubble? How many lives were destroyed? How many kids were traumatized? How many women lost their families? If this isn't a war crime, then what is?
From the southern suburb of Beirut, I'm Radi Francis for WION The World is One.
Hello and a very warm welcome. You are watching Gravitas. I'm Molly Kampir. Let's get started. Our top story tonight on Gravitas is on the latest from West Asia. A lot has happened. We are asking tonight, can Donald Trump bomb a defiant Iran into submission over Hormuz, with both sides doubling down? In fact, just a short while back, Donald Trump has announced a 20% toll on the ships crossing through the critical waterway. The tussle over control over the Strait of Hormuz is only intensifying, with the entire region getting pulled further into uncertainty. We decode the developments for you and explain what's happening and what lies ahead possibly. Here's what else is lined up for you on the show tonight. We get you a Gravitas special report on the Indo-Brahmos Pacific. We tell you how Prime Minister Modi has nixed the US in the Indo-Pacific. Pakistan is on the verge of another partition, according to a key Pakistani leader. The anger is boiling over as people demand a CBI probe in the Ram Temple alleged donation scam. We tell you how South India's declining birth rate is becoming a crisis point in the political power games. Why are Taylor Swift fans shedding out money for garbage? We don't want to miss this, all this and a lot more coming up. Can Donald Trump bomb a defiant Iran into submission over Hormuz? As of now, senior Iranian officials are upping the ante, sharpening their threats, with neither side backing down. And as the latest exchange of strikes between Iran and the United States continued into Monday, it's all boiling down to one strategic waterway. The tussle over controlling the Strait of Hormuz has only intensified. The United States and Iran are both doubling down. In fact, just a short while back, this is what US President Donald Trump posted on Truth Social. He's not mincing any words. I'm quoting from his statement. The Hormuz Strait is open and will remain open, with or without Iran. We are reinstating the Iranian blockade, so named because it is only stopping Iran's ships or customers from entering or leaving. All other countries will have fair and open use of the strait. The USA will be, from this point forward, known as the guardian of the Hormuz Strait, but as such and as a matter of fairness, will be reimbursed at the rate of 20% on all cargo shipped for any and all costs necessary to do the job of providing safety and security to this very volatile section of the world. The process and formation will begin immediately. That's what the US president has said just a short while back. Now, let's just lay out the context for you. What's happened on the ground? What's the background? A weekend of attacks stretching across the wider West Asia region, making the situation increasingly precarious. Here's what has already unfolded and what the two sides have said earlier. The latest exchange, remember, was sparked by an Iranian attack on a container ship on Sunday at the Strait of Hormuz. In fact, Iran says it has the right to manage traffic through the strait and potentially charge fees in accordance with the interim peace deal reached last month. The US disputes that strongly, citing international law on the freedom of navigation, and has tried to establish an alternative route as well outside of Iranian control so far. The Strait of Hormuz, remember, is a vital maritime corridor for global trade, is what the US Central Command has said, also saying Iran does not control it, quote unquote. That's what they have said earlier as well. Iran's paramilitary Revolutionary Guard sharply rejecting America's earlier statement as well, saying the Strait of Hormuz is our territory, saying that they will not allow an army from the other side of the world to continue what they call illegal interference in it. But then here's the thing. As long as the tussle over the Strait of Hormuz continues, the region gets pulled deeper into uncertainty. In fact, the US military Central Command described its forces as hitting dozens of sites in those strikes on Monday, including air defense systems, radar sites, missile and drone equipment, and small boats. Missile alert sirens sounded 3 times on Monday itself in Bahrain, which, remember, is home to the US Navy's 5th Fleet. And Kuwait said it was intercepting hostile fire in Jordan as well. The kingdom's military said it shot down 4 Iranian missiles in an incident that resulted in 0 casualties or material damage, quote unquote. Jordan, remember, also hosts the US military forces and aircraft. In Iran, meanwhile, authorities reported attacks earlier in several parts, and at least 2 people were killed earlier, as per the state-run news agency. Meanwhile, a base belonging to the armed wing of an Iranian Kurdish opposition group based in Iraq's semi-autonomous northern Kurdistan region came under drone attack on Monday. Earlier, Iran media reported explosions of unknown origin heard in southern Iran near the Strait of Hormuz, following an exchange of attacks between Tehran and Washington. And while those developments have continued to trickle in and the region remains on edge increasingly, remember, the fighting was focused on the status of the Strait of Hormuz. We just told you what the US president has said in the latest as well. On Sunday, the US military had said it hit some 140 targets, including missile and drone launch sites, ammunition dumps, communication equipment. Iran, meanwhile, retaliated by attacking nations in the region hosting US military forces. So that's how things reached this point. It also insists that it alone must control the Strait of Hormuz and potentially charge vessels for traveling through it. And Sunday's attacks stretched to Bahrain, Kuwait, Qatar, Jordan, and even Oman, which, remember, shares the Strait of Hormuz with Iran. Oman, which has long been an interlocutor in a way between Tehran and the West, also summoned an Iranian diplomat to criticize the attack. Iran's foreign ministry spokesperson, meanwhile, blaming Washington for the chaos gripping the entire region. What happens here onwards will not just dictate where things stand as far as the rising tensions are concerned, but also determine the fate of West Asia, and the entire world will be watching closely. Remember, Iran and the US are nearly halfway through that 60-day period in which they were supposed to negotiate a permanent end to the war and an agreement on Iran's disputed nuclear program. The Strait of Hormuz crisis and the tussle that we are witnessing has been a direct fallout of the war that started on the 28th of February with the US-Israel strikes on Iran. Iran has naturally used its most important bargaining chip, which is the crucial waterway. But then will Trump's strategy as of now work? Can he bomb Iran into submission? So far, it does not seem to work, and Iran continues to assert control over the strait, even as Trump has issued that statement. A series of attacks over the Strait of Hormuz, overall intensifying fears of a return to all-out war. The global economy cannot afford another round of uncertainty and disruption. But as of now, the clouds of uncertainty continue to hover over West Asia, escalating fears of further disruption to the global economy. With neither side showing signs of backing down, from a cycle of attacks that is unraveling the ceasefire and pushing the region into deeper uncertainty. Shifting focus for now to the other big development we are tracking. The battle for the Indo-Pacific is no longer being fought only by aircraft carriers and warships. It is now being shaped by who arms the region with credible deterrence. India is quietly building a new security architecture. From Manila to Jakarta and Hanoi, the BrahMos is becoming more than a weapon. It's becoming India's strategic signature. This is a Gravitas special report.
The map is changing, not with deployments, not with military bases, but with trust. For decades, the Indo-Pacific security story revolved around the United States. American fleets, American alliances, American guarantees. Now another power is writing a different chapter. India is exporting deterrence. The BrahMos supersonic cruise missile is no longer just India's frontline strike weapon. It is becoming the backbone of a growing regional security network stretching across some of the world's most sensitive sea lanes. The Philippines already fields the BrahMos. Indonesia has now decided to acquire the missile. Vietnam is widely expected to follow. Together, these countries sit along the very maritime corridors that shape Asian security. Look at the map. The South China Sea, the Malacca Strait, the Lombok Strait, the Luzon Strait. These are not just ordinary waterways. They are the arteries of global trade. Every major power watches them. Every navy plans around them. India's answer is not military bases. It is strategic partnerships. Each BrahMos battery strengthens a country's ability to defend its own coastline. Together, they create overlapping layers of deterrence across the Indo-Pacific. The BrahMos is jointly developed by Russia and India. It derives its name from India's Brahmaputra River and Russia's Moskova River. BrahMos is a two-stage supersonic cruise missile capable of striking land-sea targets at a speed of up to Mach 3. Operating on a fire-and-forget principle, it can be launched from land, air, sea and submarine platforms. During Operation Sindoor, BrahMos proved to be India's Brahmastra. Precision strikes on key Pakistani air bases rendered them unserviceable, grounding Pakistani fighter aircraft and forcing Pakistan to seek peace. The missile also demonstrated its ability to penetrate Pakistan's Chinese origin air defense systems, reinforcing its deterrent value against adversaries equipped with advanced Chinese military technology. This is not an Indian military alliance. It is an Indian capability network. The timing is equally significant. Even as Washington increasingly speaks of the Pacific and has gradually reduced the emphasis, the US dropped Indo from its Indo-Pacific Command, reverting its name to the original US Pacific Command in some strategic messaging. New Delhi is ensuring that India's presence is impossible to ignore. Experts call it the Indo-BrahMos Pacific, a region where India's most successful defense export is becoming a common strategic language. Prime Minister Narendra Modi's recent outreach across the Pacific reinforced the same message. Massive Indian diaspora gatherings, colorful cultural receptions and expanding partnerships in Indonesia, Australia and New Zealand showed that India's influence is growing beyond defense alone. New Delhi is building political goodwill, economic partnerships and strategic trust. There is another striking difference. America's security network has often been built around formal alliances. India's network is being built around willing partners. That distinction matters. Because missiles can defend coastlines, but trust builds regions. And today, from Manila to Jakarta, India is exporting both. Bureau Report, WION World is One.
A Cold War warship is once again at the center of global attention. More than 4 decades after it was conceived to take on US aircraft carriers, Russia's guided missile cruiser Varyag is now leading Moscow's naval presence in high-profile exercises with China. In fact, offering a powerful reminder that old warships continue to carry geopolitical weight. Let's break it down. The Varyag is only a handful of the Slava-class guided missile cruisers ever built, launched in 1983 with a 500-strong crew. The Soviet-era ship is heavily armed, its weaponry including highly automated dual-barreled naval cannons, 16 anti-ship missile tubes, 64 long-range surface-to-air missiles, anti-submarine warfare helicopter. Designed around massive anti-ship missiles, the Slava-class cruisers earned the nickname Carrier Killer during the Cold War. These ships remain one of Russia's most heavily armed surface combatants. During the latest Russia-China Joint Sea Exercise, it emerged as the centerpiece of the Russian contingent. Chinese and Russian sailors toured each other's warships before conducting live-fire drills, air defense missions, anti-submarine operations, and coordinated maritime maneuvers. Now, Varyag represents more than a single warship. Its role in the military exercises reflecting the expanding military partnership between Russia and China. Annual naval drills between the two sides have grown in both scale and complexity, extending far beyond training into joint patrols across the Pacific, especially as strategic competition intensifies across the region. In fact, Russia said the drills are aimed at strengthening the strategic partnership between Moscow and Beijing, while China said the drills are aimed at jointly responding to security challenges and safeguarding regional peace and stability. The drills also come around 2 months after Russia's president visited China, remember? So Varyag may belong to another era as such, but it continues to project influence in one of the world's most contested maritime theaters, where military partnerships are becoming just as significant as military hardware.
दिल के कान खोल के सुन लो
From the killing of security personnel to raging protests, Pakistan has been rocked by internal chaos. In a major embarrassment for Pakistan's Army Chief, Field Marshal Asim Munir, a leading politician in Pakistan, has criticized the military's approach and conceded that his country is falling apart. Addressing a public gathering in Pakistan's Punjab province, Jamaat Ulema-e-Islam Chief Fazlur Rahman asserted that the responsibility for defending the country rests with the military and not ordinary citizens. Admitting that the Shehbaz Sharif-led government has lost control of Balochistan, he hinted that Khyber Pakhtunkhwa is leading and, in fact, heading in the same direction. Listen in.
पूरा बलोच इलाका पाकिस्तान के इख्तियार से निकल चुका था। आज भी वहां पर पाकिस्तान हुकूमत की कोई रिट मौजूद नहीं है। लेकिन हम तो बलोच इलाके को रो रहे थे, अब तो पश्तून इलाका भी खून में नहा रहा है। पश्तून इलाके में हमने 2-3 दिन के अंदर 50 से ज्यादा लाशें वसूल की हैं।
In fact, on this occasion, Rahman also accused the military of pushing future generations towards violence. Taking a whale dig at Munir's political meddling, the veteran member of parliament dared the military personnel to retire and contest elections to test the army's popularity on the ground.
आपने अगर सियासत करनी है तो वर्दी उतार कर आइए, इलेक्शन में हिस्सा लीजिए, पता चल जाएगा कि वर्दी वाले को लोग क्या वोट देते हैं। ये आपका इख्तियार है कि आप जिसको चाहेंगे हुकूमत देंगे और जिससे चाहेंगे हुकूमतें छीन लेंगे।
The public criticism of the Pakistan army also coming at a point when Balochistan is on the boil, remember, even as Pakistan continues to jail human rights activists like Mehrang Baloch. The unrest on the ground cannot be understated. Last week itself, the Pakistan military revealed that insurgents abducted and executed 18 police officers after attacking a police post. That's not all. 11 soldiers were killed when their vehicle was ambushed on a highway. As per Pakistan's interior minister, at least 114 militants have been killed across Balochistan in a number of operations conducted thereafter. Meanwhile, Pakistan Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif sought to deflect the blame. Not surprising. Chairing a meeting attended by Munir and Balochistan Chief Minister last week, he accused the militants of using Afghanistan's territory of launching attacks in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa as well as Balochistan. Pakistan's worsening security situation on the ground is also evident from hard data and what the numbers are showing. According to the South Asia Terrorism Portal, Pakistan has already witnessed 650 incidents of killing in 2026 so far. 487 civilians, 730 security personnel have lost their lives. On the other hand, close to 1,200 militants have been killed. Apart from its own backyard, the unrest in Pakistan-occupied Kashmir is almost on the point of no return. The situation has been worsening. A new slogan, in fact, emphasizing that Pakistan-occupied Kashmir will not become another province of Pakistan as such, is resonating throughout the illegal occupied Indian territory.
Bacha, bacha, Katmaraka, Kashmir Suba, nahi Bacha, bacha, Katmaraka, Bacha, bacha, Katmaraka.
Thousands of supporters of civil society group Joint Awami Action Committee or JAAC have been on a sit-in at the Eidgah ground since the 9th of June. We've been telling you about this. The protests were originally ignited by a ban on JAAC, which basically put forth 38 demands, including the abolition of 12 seats in the so-called Legislative Assembly there, which are dominated by Pakistanis. Over the weekend, fresh violence was reported in POK's Bagh Arja Jandala area. As per reports, security personnel opened fire on peaceful protesters as demonstrations continued over demands for basic rights, economic relief, and political freedom. In yet another challenge for the Munir-led forces, JAC has now declared that it would stage a long march towards Muzaffarabad on the 15th of July and appeal to the general public as well to participate in full force. With the ongoing conflict with Afghanistan, Munir's disdain for any dialogue with opposition and civil society forces, it seems, within Pakistan, also in POK, it's amply clear that the internal turmoil in Pakistan is unlikely to settle down anytime soon. An Indian origin businessman is set to make one of the biggest bets in sports history, global sport history. Venture capitalist Vinod Khosla is poised to acquire the National Football League's Seattle Seahawks in a record-breaking deal. Let's break it down. The agreement, which was finalized last week, values the Seattle Seahawks at approximately $9.6 billion, making it the most expensive franchise sale in NFL history. The deal has been struck between the estate of Paul G. Allen, which has owned the team since 1997, and an ownership group led by the Khosla family. While the franchise did not officially disclose financial details, multiple reports pegged the final transaction value at $9.6 billion. Following the completion of the sale, in fact, the Khosla family will reportedly assume controlling ownership of the team. They will assume controlling ownership of the team. The transaction is expected to go through standard league approvals, a routine but critical step for ownership changes in the NFL. Vinod Khosla is a prominent figure in Silicon Valley and one of the most influential venture capitalists globally. Born in India, Khosla co-founded Sun Microsystems, a company that played a key role in shaping modern computing infrastructure. And he later went on to establish Khosla Ventures, a venture capital firm known for backing high-impact technology startups. With an estimated net worth of $13.7 billion, Khosla has built a reputation for investing in transformative ideas across sectors like clean energy, artificial intelligence, and also healthcare. And his entry into professional sports ownership, marking a significant diversification from his core technology-focused investments. The acquisition also highlighting a broader shift in global sports ownership patterns, where deep-pocketed investors are increasingly viewing sports franchises as both cultural assets and also long-term financial investments. NFL teams in particular have seen soaring valuations driven by a limited supply of franchises. As institutional and private capital continues to flow into sports, transactions like this one reinforce the idea that top-tier franchises are no longer just teams, they are premium global assets. Let's now take a quick look at some of the top global headlines at this hour, taking you around the world in 120 seconds. Take a look.
Investigators combed through the wreckage of a huge fire at a Bangkok bar that killed at least 28 people as relatives began the grim task of identifying the dead. Over 70 people were injured following the blaze on Sunday evening on the outskirts of the Thai capital, the country's worst such incident for almost 2 decades. Flames ripped through a bar and restaurant and burst out of the entrance, sending people fleeing, several with their clothing burned or ablaze. Footage aired by Chinese state television CCTV showed the dramatic rescue of a woman stranded in floodwaters in Quancheng County in Hebei province. This after heavy rains from Typhoon Bavi turned a road into a dangerous channel of fast-moving water. The floods came after Typhoon Bavi, the most powerful storm to strike mainland China this year, brought heavy rain to the eastern coast and violent winds to the area's densely populated cities, testing the country's ability to cope with extreme weather. A wildfire tore through a historic forest near Paris, forcing highway closures and mobilizing water-bombing aircraft as a relentless heat wave scorched much of Western Europe. Drone views above Milly-la-Forêt, 67 kilometers south of Paris, showed smoke rising above a forest not far from houses. Western Europe is enduring its third heat wave of the summer, with tinder-dry vegetation and high temperatures fueling blazes from the Iberian Peninsula to France. Most scientists say the fires are driven by climate change. French President Emmanuel Macron met with his Ukrainian counterpart Volodymyr Zelensky in Paris. as leaders of the Coalition of the Willing for Ukraine are set to hold talks in the French capital. Ukraine will present its anti-ballistic program to European allies during the meetings in Paris, as Ukraine seeks to protect its vulnerable skies from Russian missile strikes. Western allies are seeking to secure more air defense commitments for Ukraine during the talks, as shortages have left it increasingly exposed to Russian ballistic missiles, despite recent shifts in momentum on the battlefield. According to an internal memo seen by AFP, Volkswagen's boss has told employees a further 50,000 jobs could go at the struggling auto giant. Confirming reports, the group is targeting 100,000 cuts worldwide. Europe's largest car maker has come under intense pressure from US tariffs, slimmer profit margins from electric cars, and above all, intense competition in China, the world's largest auto market.
Shifting focus for now, fresh legal scrutiny has come up in the Ayodhya Ram Temple alleged donation embezzlement case, with the Supreme Court issuing notices to the centre, the Uttar Pradesh government and the trust. In fact, a bench led by the Chief Justice has also directed the Uttar Pradesh government's special investigation team to file a status report detailing the progress of its investigation and the composition of the SIT. The hearing follows multiple petitions seeking a CBI probe into the alleged misuse of donations made by the devotees for the Ram Temple. The petitioners have also sought a forensic audit of the trust's finances, preservation of financial records and CCTV footage, publication of audited accounts, and greater transparency in the management of the donations. The petitioners arguing that when the faith of millions of devotees is involved, an independent and credible investigation becomes the need of the hour. And they contend that donation made at one of India's most revered temples deserves scrutiny by the country's premier investigating agency to ensure complete transparency and restore public confidence. And during the hearing, the Solicitor General informed the court that the SIT status report would be submitted in a sealed cover. However, the bench declined the centre's request to defer issuing notice to the temple trust. It also refused to, for now, the petitioner's request for access to the status report, observing that the investigation is still underway. Meanwhile, the Uttar Pradesh police has already registered an FIR and 8 accused remain in judicial custody, which has been extended by another 14 days. They are scheduled to appear before the court on the 27th of July. And in a separate development, the trust has invited applications for the post of the temple's first chief executive officer, with July 18 set as the deadline. Let's now shift focus to the big story we are tracking from South India. First, let's lay out the context for you. Population explosion has been India's major concern since independence. As per the UN, it surpassed China as the world's most populous country 3 years ago. However, South India faces a different type of crisis with declining fertility rate and an aging population. The debate over South India's demography stirred yet again when the Tamil Nadu health minister called upon families to have more children. He basically stressed that it was imperative to encourage parenthood, as the state's total fertility rate had dropped to 1.3, well below the national average. In fact, the TVK leader also flagged that nearly 16% of Tamil Nadu's population was above the age of 60. The neighboring state of Andhra Pradesh, meanwhile, has gone one step further. As part of the government's endeavour to boost population growth, the Chief Minister announced a one-time incentive of 30,000 rupees for having a third child and 40,000 rupees for the fourth. A drop in population growth is a concern for Kerala as well. As per the state's Economics and Statistics Department, Kerala's crude birth rate, or CBR, That's the number of live births per 1,000 people, dropped into single digits for the first time. While its CBR was 17.67 in 1992, it plummeted to 9.64 in 2024. Falling birth rate has also pushed up the median age in the southern states. For example, Kerala has the highest median age for any state in India at 31 years. And that is well above the national average of 24 years. Tamil Nadu and Andhra Pradesh are also not far behind at 29 years and 27 years, respectively. Southern states are also accounting for a major chunk of the elderly. As per the latest National Family Health Survey, Kerala is aging faster than any other Indian state, with over 20% of its population aged 60 and above. Similarly, elderly population accounting for 16% of Tamil Nadu's population. In tune with the demographic reality, Kerala recently, remember, became the first state in India to have an exclusive Ministry for Welfare of Senior Citizens. That's not all. Earlier this year, Kerala also became the first state to present an elderly budget, earmarking over 46,000 crore rupees for senior citizens, which was about 19% of its budget size. Now, it's worth noting here also that the scenario was totally different in India over 5 decades ago. Let's take you back to 1971. Back then, the total fertility rate, which is the average number of children a woman is expected to have over her lifetime, was as high as 5.2 in the year 1971. But a big thrust on family planning has led to the TFR falling to 1.9 in 2024. And this, by the way, is lower than the 2.1 threshold, which will keep the population stable. However, the mass sterilization campaign during 1975 to 1977, when a national emergency was imposed by then Prime Minister Indira Gandhi, became highly contentious. Over 1 crore sterilization procedures were performed in this period, with more than 1,700 deaths reported as well. Now, how exactly does a declining birth rate impact South India? An aging population basically implies that fewer younger people will enter the workforce, and this in turn will lead to labor shortages perhaps and declining productivity. More importantly, an increased burden on healthcare and pensions possibly could strain state finances, while a shrinking consumer base may also slow economic growth. Concerns have also been raised about how the political power of southern states would be further reduced if delimitation takes place on the basis of population. That is because southern states have outperformed the northern states in population control. While the total number of seats of each state in Lok Sabha and state assemblies were frozen in 1976, the delimitation bill, remember, introduced in the last session of the parliament, which could not be passed, sought to alter this. And during the discussion in the Lok Sabha, the Union Home Minister stated that seats of all states will be proportionally increased by 50%, thereby ensuring that no one loses out in the process. For example, he revealed that Tamil Nadu seat share will go up from the current 39 to 59. Karnataka, 42 seats. He assured the House that the existing 129 seats of southern states will increase to 195, and their share in total seats will remain almost the same at around 24%. But then with a state like Uttar Pradesh, for example, likely to see its seats go up from 80 to 120 if the limitation bill is passed in the future. The difference in absolute numbers is bound to increase. So South India is staring at a number of challenges. It has to manage its elderly as well as ensure that its demographic dividend grows. Today marks a moment of profound grief for the SL family. Shri Nand Kishore Goenka, father of the SL Group chairman, Dr. Subhash Chandra, passed away in Mumbai this afternoon. He was 96 years old. Shri Goenka's passing marking the end of a long and remarkable life, leaving behind a legacy that, of course, will be remembered by family, friends, and well-wishers.
Born on the 28th of September 1930, Shri Nandakishore Goenka devoted his life to public service and social causes. Shri Nandakishore Goenka's life was defined by strong values, humility, compassion, and unwavering dedication to serve the society. Through his quiet acts of generosity and dedication to community welfare, he touched the lives of many. A committed volunteer of the Rashtriya Swayamsevak Sangh, he held several key responsibilities within the organization over the years. Alongside his business pursuits, he remained deeply engaged in social service and was steadfastly committed to the cause of cow welfare. His son and chairman of the SL Group, Dr. Subhash Chandra, remembered his father. In a post on X, he said, "Though all in the family are saddened, my desire is to celebrate his life of 96 years, which was full of Samaj Seva, Cow Seva and national service as an RSS Swayam Sevak." Tributes have been pouring in from across sections of the society. Chief ministers of various states, leaders of political parties and top industrialists have expressed grief over the death of Shri Nandakishore Goenka. Maharashtra Chief Minister Devendra Fadnavis expressed sorrow and praised Shri Nandakishore Goenka's role as an RSS worker. Senior Congress leader and former Chief Minister of Haryana, Bhupinder Singh Hooda, also remembered Shri Goenka as a visionary industrialist and a great family man.
बड़े ही दुख की बात है कि नंदकिशोर गोयनका जी जो सुभाष चंद्र जी के पिताश्री हैं, उनका निधन हुआ है। वे राष्ट्रीय स्वयंसेवक संघ के प्रचारक रहे हैं और विशेष रूप से गौ सेवा के लिए बहुत समर्पित रहे हैं। कारोबार करते हुए उन्होंने बहुत सारी सामाजिक जिम्मेदारियों का भी निर्वाह किया है। अग्रसेन समाज में भी उनका कार्य बहुत बड़ा है। ऐसे एक बहुत बड़े समाज सेवी और राष्ट्रभक्त व्यक्तित्व का निधन ये बहुत ही दुख की बात है। मैं उन्हें विनम्र श्रद्धांजलि अर्पित करता हूँ।
नंदकिशोर जी गोयनका जी, मैं जानता था उन्होंने सारी उम्र मेहनत किया है, समाज सेवी की और उनके परिवार ने बड़ी तरक्की करी, सब उनके आशीर्वाद से की। आज वो नहीं रहे तो लेकिन समाज में और अपनी जन सेवा के उसमें अपना वो एक स्थान बना के गए हैं। ईश्वर से प्रार्थना है कि अपने चरणों
The mortal remains of Shri Nandakishore Goenka will be flown to his ancestral town of Hisar in Haryana. The remains will be kept at his residence, Goenka House in Hisar, for family members, friends and well-wishers to pay their final respects. His last rites will be performed at 11 a.m. on Wednesday. The final rites will take place at Goenka Garden in Agroha Dham. His wife was also cremated at the Agroha Dham.
Shifting focus for now, time now for a special segment where we get you offbeat, extraordinary stories that could leave you scratching your head, wondering perhaps and asking questions. This story is about the world of prisons, from inmates demanding special meals to criminals using drones to smuggle narcotics. Across the world, prisons are battling challenges that go far beyond locked cells and high walls as such. For example, in New Delhi's Tihar jail, an American national has asked a special NIA court to let him cook his own food inside prison. Arrested in March in a terror conspiracy case, he says he cannot eat the jail's spicy, oily, greasy meals, quote unquote. And he wants permission for his family to provide an induction cooker, cooking stove, olive oil, pasta, and other essentials. He claims he has lost 14 kilograms during 3 months in judicial custody after remaining on a prolonged hunger strike. The NIA, meanwhile, have accused him and 6 Ukrainian nationals of illegally entering Mizoram, crossing into Myanmar, and training ethnic armed groups allegedly linked to organizations targeting both India and Myanmar's military. At the same time, a new report from Britain's prison inspector has revealed a very different prison crisis as such. Criminal gangs increasingly using drones to deliver drugs directly into jails, fueling a thriving black market behind bars, allegedly. The report says inmates can order cocaine, cannabis, steroids, even lifestyle drugs. Smugglers exploit broken windows, even disguise drug packages as rubbish bags to avoid detection. The findings showing nearly 40% of the prisoners believe that drugs are easy to obtain inside prison. Then the report blames overcrowding, boredom, inmates spending up to 22 hours a day locked in their cells for driving the demand, exposing how prison systems globally are struggling with challenges, both inside and outside their walls of different kinds. Uganda's army chief is back in the headlines. The son of President Museveni has once again sparked a major controversy after publicly declaring that he wants to marry the global music icon Beyoncé. Uganda's chief of defense forces, meanwhile, recently repeated his wish to marry Beyoncé in a series of social media posts. The posts, which have now been deleted, even announced a planned demonstration called "I Am Here, Beyoncé," quote unquote, drawing widespread attention online. In another post, the 52-year-old general gave Jay-Z a 1-week ultimatum to surrender his wife. He even threatened to take the matter to the United Nations if his demand was ignored. Can you believe this? This is not the first time, in fact, that he has publicly targeted the celebrity couple. Last year as well, he claimed Jay-Z had married his woman and even challenged the rapper to a fight in Uganda. Neither Beyoncé nor Jay-Z have responded to the remarks. This general is widely seen as a possible successor to his father. President Museveni is known for making provocative social media posts, often triggering public debate and diplomatic controversy as well. Taylor Swift fans have collected friendship bracelets, concert confetti, just about everything you can imagine linked to the pop star and her concerts. And now they seem to be taking things a step further. Garbage picked up from outside Swift and Travis Kelce's wedding is being sold, and fans bought it within hours. Just days after Taylor Swift married the NFL star Travis Kelce in a lavish, tightly guarded ceremony at Madison Square Garden, New York artist began selling tiny acrylic cubes filled with trash collected from the streets outside the venue. The cubes contained everything from cigarette butts, bottle caps, to candy wrappers even, plastic cutlery, also a lost AirPod. Priced at $25 each, they sold out in less than 24 hours. In less than 24 hours, people bought these cubes labeled as NYC Pocket Garbage, Not Invited Edition. And according to reports, the artist must have earned more than $45,000 because of subsequent restocks and demand. And he reportedly collected the debris after the July 3rd wedding. Each clear cube was tagged with the logo, the label, matching the message displayed on Madison Square Garden's iconic marquee after the ceremony. The artist has been selling his New York City garbage cubes since 2001, in fact, to show how presentation can actually change the way people see everyday objects. This latest collection was pitched as a playful keepsake from what many fans are calling the celebrity wedding of the decade. The product description even referenced Taylor Swift's song New Year's Day, which mentions garbage on the floor after the party, quote unquote. And the frenzy showing just how intense the fascination with Swift and Kelsey's wedding has actually become. The star-studded celebration reportedly costing around $20 million, hosted nearly 1,000 guests from the world of music, sports, film, television, and others. Taylor Swift memorabilia already commanding huge prices. According to reports, people even listed a bag of air allegedly collected inside the wedding venue for nearly $50,000, from confetti to even garbage. It seems that Taylor Swift fans will treasure just about anything linked to the pop star. India have claimed a historic victory over England in the first ever women's test match at Lord's. The architects of that triumph, Yastika Bhatia and Kranti Kaur, who spearheaded India to that dominant 270-run victory. After 142 years of men's tests at the home of cricket, the women finally got an opportunity to play a red ball game at Lord's, and India etched its name into history books by winning the test match comprehensively. In fact, Kranti starred in the first innings with the ball. She ran through the English batting order. The Indian pacer ended up writing her name on the Lord's honour board with a 5-wicket haul. She ended the innings with figures of 5 for 37 as England were bowled out for 170. In the process, she became the third Indian fast bowler to take a 5-wicket haul in Test cricket. And she wasn't the only one who got her name on the iconic honours board. Yastika Bhatia was the star of the show with the bat in India's second innings. Promoted up the order, she scored her maiden test century that helped India post 341 for 7. And they set England a massive 457-run target. India then bundled England out for 186, winning the match comprehensively. Kranti finished the test with 7 wickets and was named the player of the match. The achievement was made even more special by the presence of the great Sachin Tendulkar. We now get you the most powerful image of the day. Take a look at this. Firefighters grappled to extinguish that fire at a house in Moscow that was struck in a Ukrainian drone attack. Overall, at least 3 people were killed, 5 others were injured in those strikes. That's just a sample of what this war has resulted in. And we now leave you with a look at some of the key events and happenings from around the world that are expected tomorrow. France will mark Bastille Day tomorrow, 14 July, with a high-profile military parade as President Macron hosts key NATO allies amid heightened European security concerns. Global markets will focus on key US inflation data set to be released on the 14th of July, which is expected to shape investor sentiment worldwide. The road to the World Cup final narrows as France take on Spain in Dallas with a place in Sunday's title clash on the line.
Get the latest updates. Breaking news. Credible, clear, continuous. Experts across aisles. Diverse voices, one platform. WION World is one.
In-depth coverage of global issues broken down into facts, figures, and simple words. Backed with analysis from field experts who truly matter, because we believe in decoding the real picture for you. So you get a much wider and deeper understanding of stories from around the world, a 360-degree analysis. An award-winning documentary series, week after week creating the maximum impact. Watch WION Wide Angle at these times on WION World is One.
WION, India's global voice. The channel that brings you the biggest stories from across the world through India's lens. Now available in more than 190 countries worldwide. Because we believe that the world is one. Watch us in Africa, Europe, USA and Canada, South America, Asia Pacific, Middle East and North African regions. Also available on these digital platforms across the world. WION, World is One.
In this rapidly changing world, is your health keeping pace? Best practices and breakthroughs busting the hype with real insights. The timeless power of yoga and ancient healing. Good food, good mood. Small steps, big impact. Your health matters. Only on WION World is One. Because nothing matters more.
From the bustling trading floors of Wall Street to the vibrant exchanges of Asian stock markets, WION breaks it down for you to make sense of what's happening. As we reveal the key factors behind events, strategic battles, and the game-changing business decisions that shape the world. We bring you all of this and more on World Business Watch.
Campaigns, elections, alliances, controversies, and power play. Stories that analyze global and domestic politics. A dedicated show with varied perspectives, expert take, citizens' voices, detailed ground reports, and in-depth coverage from political corridors of the world. This is Race to Power, only on WION.
The Israeli drone is above our heads all the time in Lebanon. More than 200,000 civilian homes have been destroyed. This looks like it used to be a toy for a little girl. Can't but wonder while I'm walking between all of this rubble, how many lives were destroyed, how many kids were traumatized, how many women lost their families. If this isn't a war crime, then what is?
From the southern suburb of Beirut, I'm Radi Francis for WION World is One.
In this rapidly changing world, is your health keeping pace? Best practices and breakthroughs busting the hype with real insights. The timeless power of yoga and ancient healing. Good food, good mood. Small steps, big impact. Your health matters. Only on WION World is One. Because nothing matters more.
WION, India's global voice. The channel that brings you the biggest stories from across the world through India's lens. Now available in more than 190 countries worldwide. Because we believe that the world is one. Watch us in Africa, Europe, USA and Canada, South America, Asia Pacific, Middle East and North African regions. Also available on these digital platforms across the world. WION, World is One.
Get the latest updates. Breaking news. Credible, clear, continuous. Experts across aisles. Diverse voices, one platform. WION World is One.
Hello, you're watching WION The World Pulse. I'm Shreya Upadhyay. Up next, we will get you all that is making news across the world and here in India. First up, a quick look at the top stories. Iran's military warns that it will not allow the United States to interfere in the management of the Strait of Hormuz as hostilities with Washington resume, while warning Gulf countries that any cooperation with the US would be considered an act of war. The United States announces a campaign against the Hague-based International Criminal Court, accusing the tribunal of posing an intolerable threat to American sovereignty and threatening sanctions. Russian President Vladimir Putin says that Moscow would respond to Ukrainian attacks on its territory with retaliatory strikes that would be several times more powerful, adding that the scale of such responses would increase. The European Union and Britain target Russia with coordinated sanctions over cyber attacks in Europe, accusing Moscow's FSB intelligence agency over involvement in digital strikes. Spanish Prime Minister Pedro Sanchez will travel to Algeria next week for an official visit aimed at ending years of tensions between the two countries over the Western Sahara dispute. France is battling to contain an exceptionally large wildfire in a forest south of Paris, with aircraft in disguise and firefighters on the ground trying to douse the flames amid suspicions that the blaze was started deliberately. "12 state attorneys general file a lawsuit challenging Paramount Skydance's $110 billion acquisition of Warner Brothers Discovery, arguing that the combined Hollywood giant would damage economic competition. World oil prices surge as a fresh flare-up between the